You got it back on there?
Yeah, I put it back on there. Yeah, man. The joke is, Marlo, the joke is, I tell Laws all the time, I'm like, bro, you can be a connector. Because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I should have been met you. And I could have met you a long time ago, but shout out to Laws. He's here.
No
he
doubt.
made this connection.
Got to.
Bring your mic a little bit closer to you.
Got to.
Say something.
Is that good? Shout out to Laws.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
he a low speaker too. Yeah, I say he a low speaker, so you gonna put that mic close. I had to grow too, bro.
Yeah, don't be coming up in here trying to be shy.
Hey, look, that's what I'm good for.
Big Mrlo.
Laws, I'm gonna let you introduce this man. How did y'all two meet?
Wow. I met Mrlo at one of the, let's just say it's kind of like a premiere or a showcase for Charlotte music artists. And so I met Mrlo. What was it called?
Carolina Style?
Yes, sir. It was Carolina Style. Shout out to Young Citizen, De Niro Ferrar, Elevator J. Had a variety of artists out there. Maybe Sianka, I don't remember. But I saw Mrlo, saw he had a camera. I was coming from a gig that I was contracted to do that weekend. I kind of knew this was something of a big event in the city. It was at a new location and everything, so I just wanted to go see what was going on. Saw Mrlo with a camera. Immediately, hey, bro, what's going on? What's your name? How long have you been shooting? XYZ. I noticed his camera looked a little more technically savvy or whatever it was. It was a film camera, and it just bugged me out because everyone else I had seen in the spaces were all using digital. Bro had a film camera and then started breaking down to me as to why he had a film camera. Everything changed after that.
You like
been cool
film?
ever since.
Oh, yeah. That's why I started on film, so it's something like, close to me. But, yeah.
How y'all feel about film people? Well, I'm talking about y'all as film users. The digital people that shoot stuff to make it look like film.
Talk, bro.
See, look, it's kind of a contradiction because, you can shoot film, but then for us to scan it and put it on Instagram or put it on the internet, like, technically it's a digital file, so.
Sounds like you guys got to get better. To all the people that are imitating. I stick to digital because that's all I know. And we talked about it off mic. Clearly I'm not creative enough because, they be Look, man, it's a new year. First of all, hand claps for Mrlo being here. Our first guest.
Yeah. Yes, sir. We here, 23.
Look, 23 is starting off great. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Far Rockaway, Queens, New York.
Okay. How long you been down south?
Long enough to say, for my wife to say I've been from North Carolina.
Yeah, you're from North Carolina for us right now.
Yeah.
How long you been taking pictures?
I'll say being paid, maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years. But
Okay.
I started as like a little kid because my parents were photographers.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
So caught it real young, and then it's kind of been like a constant thing throughout my life.
Random question. Did you try to run for that? Because sometimes we watch our parents do something or they try to encourage it. And sometimes kids run from it, right? Like I look at people who parents are, we notice people online, their parents are actors, right? And then you just like, oh, I wonder if their kid's going to turn into that. Or like I always ask myself, I'm like, what if Blue Ivy say, yo, fuck music? Like
She gonna
completely.
deny the pedigree.
Yeah, like you got a great singer and a mom. Your dad is arguably the best rapper of all time. You know what I'm saying? Your mom is one of the greatest entertainers of all time. What does she say? Yo, I want to go be a nurse.
I'm chilling.
Like I always wondered. So like, did you try to run from it or it caused you to embrace it more?
Well, I started thinking about it actually today. I lost my grandfather when I was really young, like maybe 9 or 10. And as we were getting ready for the funeral, my pops brings out like this big ass trunk of photos. Starts going through them. Like, I see my grandfather, I see my uncles as they were younger, and I'm like, where are you? And he's like, I took these photos. So that was kind of like the first instance where I realized like photography is like important, or it can be emotional. So being with that, and then even before that, I never met my mother's parents.
Okay.
But I was able to look at pictures, and she would tell me stories.
Yeah.
So that's how like my relationship with photography got started. And as far as like running to it, my pops was like the biggest one in the corner. Like, yo, if you get in the film industry, like this is what it's like. But he wasn't like, come join me, because I did. I went to school for psychology. I did.
Damn.
I got a job in my field after school. So it was like I was a freelance photographer during all of this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything like I was shooting to
Yeah, I was you was trying to go to the Olympics too, right?
yeah, like I wasn't trying to get to where I am now, but now that I'm here, I'm standing in it.
Yeah. Me and him have this conversation. Shout out to Loss. Clearly, y'all see
We out here, baby.
but we always had this conversation of like, there is no more family photo albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe as photographers, at least for your own family, you do got to find that time to say, yo, let me make a family album. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing. It doesn't have to be like, yo, let me get the craziest paper they have or whatever. But like, it is one of those things like yearly we could make photo albums just for our own family. Pictures we've taken, because right now, like I look at Amazon. Most people didn't know Amazon had a photo cloud storage, right?
It's crazy.
If you had Prime, and then they got rid of it this year. Like it's done. They won't delete nothing off the cloud, but you can't upload no more new stuff.
That's wild.
And I'm like, yo, what if Google just finally says that?
No more server space.
Look, we gonna run out of it one day.
Facts.
It's like something's going to happen. Like, how are we gonna get there? And so I always look at it, and it's funny because my son, he's only one, so he keeps playing with my mother-in-law's photo album that sits on her coffee table because it's his height, and I'm like, damn, this was right before we found out that my wife was pregnant. Like that's when we took these photos, and we ain't taken family photos since then. This weekend I'm doing family photos for my grandmother again. Nothing's worse than when your family tells you failed at the job.
Family photos.
Bro, I did family photos, and it was just too much.
Yeah, look, I went through the same thing for Thanksgiving. It was like, yo, put the camera on the self timer.
Look,
I'm like, yo, I don't use my camera for that.
Yeah,
Why would I be
don't know how to use.
I don't do that.
Bro, I couldn't even find a self timer on my camera.
So it's like to your point though, my mom was one of those photographers that was like an everyday photographer. So
Okay.
That's why I got the like I'm always carrying the camera with me. I got one on me now.
Okay.
What you got on you now, bro?
I got like a little GR2.
He really pulling
He
the
wasn't
camera
lying,
out
yo.
his pocket. Yo, my man's.
Finder, fixed lens and all that.
My man's.
Oh
But,
my God, bro.
She was one that did like family photos every day or like lifestyle photos. So like as embarrassing as it was as a kid, I can take a photo album out and show you like, Gavin, this was me in kindergarten when we did the bike-a-thon. This is me in first grade when we went to the apple orchard.
Yeah.
This is like second grade all the way up till shit. I'm pretty sure she still had like photos from me in college. Like I graduated in 2018. So it's one of those things where as a kid, I saw her take the photos and not really understand like why we're taking the photos, because there was definitely moments where I was just like,
Tired of taking these photos. Gotta
but now I
smile.
look at them and it's like, yo,
I'm telling a story here.
exactly. So I tell all my homies that have kids, congratulations on your kid.
Thank you.
To photograph often. Like I'm pretty sure they can go look at any of their baby shower or registry, like little notebooks that you do, sign and all that. I'm pretty sure I've told all of them, yo, photograph every day, photograph at least once a week, once a month, just to track that growth. Not only of the kid, but as your family. You see ask all my homies, how do you see your personality come out through your kid a lot of the time? So if you're able to
That's a great question.
you see your photos and you see like the faces that you made,
Yeah.
and then you so happen to capture the same image with your kid, making the same kind of face. It's like, yo, when they get older, they're gonna look at this and they might brush it off, and at the same time they might see like, yo, there's something to this photography outside of digitally. So I tell everybody, print your photos. I need to get better about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be like a year-end wrap-up where you go through each month and just pick out maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be extensive, but we should get back towards that.
I need to get toward. I think I'm gonna do that this year. That's a great idea. I think every week I'm gonna take one picture of my boy and then go back through. We'll see what all 52 look like.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Camera phones changed the game.
They did.
did.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it does. The taking the photo on the actual camera, printing it, in a way, none of y'all are speaking about it from a real personal sense. It creates nostalgia, and it creates like a preservation of your own culture. You know what I mean? A preservation of your own family story, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's really important. Priceless, really.
It really is, because I always look at it and I'm like, so when I married, when I was dating my girl, who's now my wife. When we got together, I remember going to her house and looking up on her walls, and I'm like, yo, is this when y'all was like 10?
You trying to piece stuff together. You see, you want to piece it together.
And so I was like, this is cool, but where's the updated picture? So that's literally what we did. The last picture we took, like when everybody was here, I told her, I was like, y'all, I'm going to take pictures of y'all family. Like, you know, and I tell her all the time, I'm like, we should do family portraits for y'all every year. And the joke is like, now she turned it on me and was like, oh, who's taking our pictures this year? Who's taking your parents' pictures? I'm like, oh my gosh, yo. But you do want that. Look, I do want to be able to look back.
Yeah.
And I want to, I used to be jealous when we used to look at the yearbook pictures in high school, and somebody's parents was able to hand over like a picture of somebody when they was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then you kind of looking like cool. You know, luckily my parents had some pictures, but then I was looking and I'm laughing because it was certain people, they ain't had no pictures turned in.
Very
you
true.
know what I'm saying? Because their parents didn't take none, they ain't find the value in that. And it's very inexpensive. Yo, I tell all photographers, shout out to all the photographers listening, first time, last time. Listeners. But yo, just go to Miller's Lab. Even if you can't afford that, certain shit you just gotta go, I'm going to Target, I'm going to Walmart, Walgreens, just get something printed.
Shutterfly, I think they still do 10-cent prints.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
My mom was good for that. Like, even with digital, like, she'd just take the phone, they send it to the app, and then, you know, next day we got 4x6 prints.
Yeah.
So it's like being able to see that, like, obviously it didn't carry through with me. Like, it wasn't something I did every day in high school. When I got to college, my mom was able to send me photos. And then whenever I was taking photos of my homies in college, like, usually I'd have them printed out or I'd send them to them. So it wasn't as prevalent since I was tied to a whole bunch of different things. But once I graduated, I was like, I have time to, like, hone in on strictly photography.
Yeah.
So it was like it's an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what you always call it.
This guy here, man.
But the unhealthy obsession landed you. Where do you take photos now?
Well, I'm still free.
Everywhere, of course, but I mean,
yeah, you know, what do we call it? Right now, I'm in the focus of motion picture still photography.
Okay.
Stills photography. We've done how many projects now? I think 4 TV shows and a feature film.
How you get in? All right.
I don't know if I probably threw Gavin off a little bit.
No, because this is important. Because shout out to Kevin Wilson Jr. I always talk about
Shout
Kevin
out to
Wilson.
him, Aggie Pride, baby.
And me and Kevin had a conversation, and I remember years ago he goes, "Yo, you should get into still photography," and I'm like, "All right, I don't even know what that means." Because photography is already still, right? Like I'm not getting it. And he goes, "Yo, you know, when I do movies, when I'm directing films, there's always a photographer there." And I feel like photography, especially with photographers of color, we get in this thing like, yo, this is hot. So everybody starts jumping on the trend, right?
Hot, yep.
So it's like, oh, you know, I feel like, especially where I'm at, I feel like maternity has been like blowing up this past year. I swear you niggas was not here 2 years ago. I know because when I hopped in, I was like, yo, I'm about to kill the game. I'm gonna be the only one.
AI.
Look, oh my gosh.
We ain't going down that road, man. My bad. Keep going.
Yo, if I see one more of you photographers use AI to edit your pictures and you talking about I was just testing it out and it sped up my process, I'm gonna cuss y'all out.
Got a whole catalog.
Bruh, lying, just out here lying. But I feel like when Kevin told me that, I didn't understand it. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand how photographers are used in that space. So can you explain like how photographers are used as a still photographer in motion pictures?
Yeah, I can try to. So outside of like the daily like clips that we shoot, you know, on production, your photos are usually the first thing they see to make sure, you know, the show's going along.
Okay.
So you're used as like a daily measure of, you know, the amount of work that's being done for marketing purposes. You can be used for posters, anything to push the film forward.
Telling the whole story.
Yeah. So usually it has been, like, I've been blessed enough to be on a production where they wanted a photographer daily. And, you know, you can get a contract where it's like, yo, we got, you know, 84 days of filming and we want photography for 2 of those weeks.
So they contract you for like the 90 days or they pay you every day or something?
Contract me for the 90 days or throughout shooting.
That's
so
dope.
From the start of principal photography to the end of that. That usually starts with me, you know, shooting props, headshots, any kind of
Dang.
any kind of photography used in the that plays in the film. Usually, photographers take those.
Do you and I hate to sound like this. Do you get to be creative in that? Let's say you're doing headshots for a person, or is it kind of like, yo, this is what it calls for. This is what I'm doing. And the reason why I'm asking, because we had a conversation before you got here about, I was telling him I'm noticing like a lot of photographers, they get upset when they can't get creative on a certain job and they don't know if they're serving themselves or if they're serving their clients. So I was just wondering, like, is it, let's say, I want to be, just so we clear, let's say it is, hey, I need headshots of every actor on set. Right. Is it one of them things where you like, all right, let me create the scene that I want to do it in? Or is it just like, nah, we just need everybody on a consistent backdrop? Yeah.
It's situational. Sometimes you get that.
That's dope.
And then other times you are given, creative control, because outside of a publicist, you're kind of in a department of your own. So even though you're listed on the camera department, you kind of have free reign as far as what the shots look like for the day. So there's a lot of not necessarily collaboration, but there's conversations with the camera operators that are setting up their shots, asking, where's a good place for me to be, or just looking at, where you can fit in to capture what's going on in the scene. I'll say the only time you're kind of directed to shoot a certain thing is if there's like product placement. So if they were like, yo, we got Microsoft in the scene, if you can, or make sure that you get in the characters at the laptops and see if you can get the, Microsoft symbol on there. That's when it can kind of get a little strict, but still like nobody's going to say like, yo, I want you to go stand over there and, take photos.
How many, in your realm, maybe not where you're working at, but I'm just talking about overall, how is people of color? Is it a lot? Is it a little bit in still photography? Because I want people to understand, like, it's possible, but is it one of those things where, nah, it's a lot, like, or it's not enough? We need to get more of us in there. Like, how is that?
I feel like it's growing.
Okay.
In addition to myself, I'm new in the classification as far as still photography goes. From socials and a couple of seminars I've sat in, there's a handful of black photographers, men and women. I feel like the field is growing just because there's so many streaming platforms.
Okay.
One of the benefits as far as being in a union, if these shows fall under union contract, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna need a union photographer. So that's where the union card can kind of play into. And then you look into like non-union stuff like ESPN or any of your local television.
Yeah.
It's more of a personality game, or not personality, but
who
a
you
personal
know.
standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than what you know.
Do you prefer union or not?
And what's the difference, by the way? If you don't mind asking.
I think the biggest difference between non-union and union is probably pay and benefits.
All right now. All right. See, we're
can
tuned
get
up
like
in this conversation now.
Like you take your Sundance movies, for instance. They may be union, but they might be, with the indie crew that just sold together on like a pipe dream. You look at a lot of these big movies that, well, not big movies, but Sundance movies that came to be, huge hits.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they may not be union. I'm still figuring out, some of the perks as far as benefits go. Like, Pops called me yesterday and was like, yo, did you sign up for Vision? And I was like, I have vision insurance? Like life insurance, health and all that. So it's definitely still, I'm learning.
Yeah.
But
you said new classification.
To my experience as of right now, like, pay, benefits, certain things are taken care of as far as travel and lodging. Like, I was in Chicago not too long ago. Really didn't have to pay for my hotel room. Like, I cleared out the mini bar, but that's what I paid for, right? So, still, getting used to it. But, it's pretty nice.
I always think about, this goes to my grandfather is a pastor, right? And he's a part of a church organization, but he has a small church. And I remember sitting there talking to my mom, and it was like, dog, like, Grandpops needs insurance. Like, it's disrespectful how the church, and a lot of church organizations don't have certain benefits for these pastors. Because a lot of pastors, I think the world sees, I know we're getting off key, but I think the world sees like, pastors have, they like the bishop in Brooklyn who had the Gucci joint. They think every pastor is like that. And they don't realize like a lot of more pastors have a real job.
Right.
And they doing this because they love it, right? Yeah. And so I say all that to say, I look at photographers and I'm like, man, we do got to get in these spaces where like, there should be some type of a union or some type of thing where it's like, we do need insurance. Like I always, it always scary when you talk to photographers and like, you saving. Yeah. I want to have, later this year, I'm going to have realtors on because their biggest thing is when they talk to entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs like, I want to buy a home. And it's like, all right, let's see what them tax returns looking like.
Woo!
Yeah.
And then dudes is like,
months, put you down.
This ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing.
It's not because, I only made $2 last year, so I ain't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And then, nobody's giving you a house with $2.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. Where you graduated from?
Wingate University on the other side of Monroe.
Oh, yeah, that's on the way to Pembroke. Off Independence.
Yep.
How was that? It's nothing out there.
It's interesting. It's in its own little bubble. Like,
it is.
I was talking to a couple of homies that also graduated from there not too long ago.
Yo, shout out to George. He's another photographer, right?
George.
Just met him last week.
So we kind of had the same sentiment where we were like, we're thankful that we went there, but we can't say with 100% honesty if we go back and do it again.
I'm about to say, was it black people at Wingate? All the people I know from Wingate are black now that I'm thinking about it. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. We had the joke there was like our teams look like HBCUs, but once you get on the campus, you're like, you either play sports,
you play sports.
Like it was really rare it wasn't rare, but most of your black students on that campus were like athletes or involved in like some kind of scholarship program. That
is fun. Yeah. Neat. Mrlo has an interesting thing that he brought to the table today. I'm throwing you under the bus just now.
Per usual.
We got to talk about mentorship in this space.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a deeper conversation about this. I'm not going to embarrass Mrlo, have his wife call me and be like, delete that. Mrlo can't get another job because of you and your mouth.
Shout out to Jamia, Niger Creates and Camp North Fan.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to her. But I do want to have this conversation. Because over the week, I forgot I should have sent this to you. There was this big talk about a young lady, a photographer, who had called out some mentors and about basically being in a pyramid scheme. And she didn't meet the mentors until it was time for her to like swipe her card again, right? And it was funny because I was telling Laws, I was like, you
separate exploiters from mentors.
I told Laws, I said, we lucky that Mrlo is coming in today. Because I was about to get on this mic and talk about mentorships and how they ain't shit out here. I said, but I'm going to let it slide because Mrlo coming and I'm going to be respectful and professional to start.
Positive all 23, baby.
As soon as Mrlo came in, he was like, mentors. And I was like, oh, God is talking to this man today. But I guess, and I'm just opening it up to everybody. Like, what is it about mentorships in photography? Because I feel like it's like sketchy. I feel like nobody can trust nobody. At least in our small ass city. So for those who are listening, y'all already know, but we in Charlotte, we're like a mini Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right? It's only 1 million people here in Charlotte, but it's very small. But I do feel like it's gatekeepers here. And you're not from here, but you've been here long enough.
Yeah.
Laws is here. I hate when niggas leave Charlotte and they always talk about gatekeeping. And then I'll be mad about it because it seems like I'm hating on the end part, but I'm really hating that they're like letting us know that, I'm leaving. And they don't ever leave. But they be so right about it's cliquish here. Yeah. And I feel like Charlotte is good for using the same 5 black people. And I swear I'm getting into that 5 this year. I'm being the top 5 niggas they use in Charlotte.
Bruh.
Getting that rotation.
Bruh. At least if you can slide in, you might not say nothing else about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Yeah, if I stop talking about it, y'all know what happened.
I've joined the other side.
I wonder what's up.
Hey, look, y'all gonna be like, anybody seen Gavin?
And see, I'm gonna let Mrlo answer that first for sure. And I don't even know if I really have a response, but I think the biggest thing for me is to preface it this way. Knowing Mrlo and knowing that he firmly believes in individualism, it is always nice listening to and engaging in this conversation with someone who is so adamant about, working on your individual self, but yet is open to talking about mentorship, collaborations, and what that even looks like from somebody who doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing for you, Gavin. I mean, like you get off on the collective, but we're choosing to figure out how to work together and how to really build something that's meaningful, as opposed to, hey, I'm gonna go do my own thing and just shut the hell up. You know what I mean? We know a lot more people in Charlotte who do that, and I ain't gonna say they're successful with it, but go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I think it's a dope conversation to have.
Also with mentorship, I feel like we all photographers have a moment where they have questions and they really don't know how or where to get the answers. So being in certain spaces is like, I've seen, mentorship be afforded to certain people. It's not saying like I want to question why they're there, but it's like, okay, I want to apply too. I want to understand what I don't understand about photography. Because there's a whole bunch of things where I feel like, I've kind of failed forward. Like, whenever the opportunities came, I've crushed it.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like, if you could hear the phone call that I had with my wife, like there was an instance, we were shooting props, and it was like a lapse in communication as far as what the style of photos were going to be done. So it was like a last minute thing. I was running around, like pulling my hair out, being anxious and everything. And it was like, if I would have talked to somebody that was kind of well versed in the area that I'm in right now, they could kind of give me like some tips and pointers.
Yeah.
But then being on the individualism tip is like, you have to learn on your feet.
Yeah.
Like my pops is a big proponent of like, I think this is why I got kind of out of team sports as well. It's kind of like what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah.
So we've all been on a team before where, you've done what you needed to do, and then
Your teammate do not care.
exactly. Old buddy's like, yo, I'm in it for the social setting.
Bruh, sidebar, I was playing after school, what I'm saying, getting off work, I'm playing on some team in a league, right? And so, just a pickup league. And I remember we got there, bro. It's the game, and we lose this game, we not going to the playoffs, right? This nigga go, y'all know it's CIAA this weekend.
Oh, you not focused, bro.
He said, I'm going to just let y'all have it. I was like, yo, my man. And I looked at my homeboy, because my homeboy, I was with Darnell. Darnell looked at me and goes, bro, at least we ain't going to have to play next week. I was like, yo, my man, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so
Hey, what a win.
I fall victim to that a lot. Like there was a couple times, like I'm never saying myself like I'm the best player out there.
Yeah.
But if I'm, if we're all coming out here for 10 hours a week,
Gonna hold it down
to get ran through, 46 to 20, it's like,
What happened?
what's all this time being dedicated towards?
My issue with mentorship is, well, let me do this. You mentioned falling forward. And falling forward is so interesting because when you fall forward, it takes somebody who's like humble enough to realize like, yo, I didn't deserve what I got, and I actually just slipped up and succeeded, right? Yeah. I got a funny story. So everybody know I talk about Designs by JK all the time, and it's not gonna stop this year. And JK he did my wedding. He wasn't able to shoot it, but I hired him for my wedding, and then after that we stopped communication because there was just no reason to, right? And I kept trying to figure out a way to get in this man's face so I could get to know him and so he can eventually mentor me. Because it's hard. Sometimes you calling somebody you don't know, hey, bro, can you mentor me? It's kind of like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I do want to get to that, like, people selecting mentors they don't know and don't know nothing about and the dangers of that. But, I'm trying to hoop in a league.
Yeah.
So I text the wrong Jonathan in my phone, and I was like, hey, yo, nigga, when we hooping? Like, what's up? And I realized it was the wrong Jonathan, and JK never spoke to me. Like, it was dead.
Yeah, that's the worst right there.
And I was like, yo, I told my wife, I was like, yo, I just killed it. It's done. It's a wrap. And then randomly one day, I DM'd him like 2 years later. I was like, yo, bro, can I use your studio? Like, how much it costs?
Right.
He was like, cool. And he was like, yeah, you good. And I went in there, I made sure I cleaned up everything. I made sure I went above and beyond to make sure this shit worked. And it was just funny. He hit me up later and was just like, yo, if you ever need anything, like, yo, let's chop it up. Like, come back and sit down with me and let's chop it up. And I was so glad because it was one of those times where, like, bro, he could have easily been like, yo, I'm never talking to this guy again. Like, whatever. But falling forward is interesting. Another thing you mentioned that was interesting was knowing what you need. Sometimes it's scary because you don't know what you need. Exactly. And there's people out there that take advantage of that. But, you know, my biggest thing now is I know I want to work on color grading, right? Like in photography. Bro, 5 years ago, I would never known what that meant. Like to say, yo, I need help with color grading. I probably would just been like, yo, I want to take, you know, I just need, the colors ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But somebody here, them be like, yo, I ain't got time. If he don't know what he talking about, I don't know what he talking about either. What do you look for? Do you have a mentor now? No? What are you looking for in a mentor?
I think it's just not necessarily like a one-way relationship where it's like they just tell me everything they have and I'm trying to, you know, suck up everything.
Yeah.
But kind of where it's open air, like they're still active in whatever they're doing and we're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other.
Oh, you keep saying a couple words that's going to make me go off. I'm trying to say this podcast and your reputation.
Like, I think the biggest thing, like I can say out of everybody, it's going to sound cliche, like my pops is a mentor. He'll be like, it's funny, I got videos of him, like he'll inspect my photos. Like to this day, like
that's dope.
I gifted him. I went out to Colorado in April and did some landscape photography. Nice photo of I forgot the name of the mountain, but it was clear and crisp. Like it was 10 out of 10 photo. Lay it down for him. And he like
that's what you thought.
Puts on those glasses. He's like, "What's that up at the top of the mountain?" And when I tell you, Gavin, it's probably the size of 1 pixel. What? Like, yo, I don't know what the hell is at the top of this mountain.
Oh my
but the fact
God,
that you can see that, like,
that's your fault.
He'll look at a lot of photos and be like, "Why don't you go tighter here? Why don't you, you know, what?"
I hate when people do that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, so I take all you know, all of his criticisms, critiques, his questions, and it's a mentorship. But I look at, you know, that's my pops. Like I do the same thing with his photos. Like I'll ask him like, "So why, you know, what was this here? Why did you do this?" And I think not necessarily looking for that in a mentor, but just being able to say like, "Hey, I have a photo idea. I want to get better about storytelling in my photography. I look at your work and I feel like I can hear or see a story. And then when we conversate about your pieces, you tell me, you know, the concept behind it and it makes sense. I want to imply that in my photography. Like what tips or tricks or what would you suggest in doing so?" So it's like real specific questions, but at the same time, it's like I'm trying to grow in the craft. Like, I look at a lot of photographers. I was prepared today. I made a list.
Bro, because I'm about to ask you before you even get to that list. I was going to ask you because it's very important to extract the story, bro, for real, for real. I love when you talk about the relationship with your dad because you battle with this idea that, like, some people will say, oh, you had a token in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's BS because you didn't have to work and earn what you got. And your dad's your hard. You're your worst critic, but then your dad's literally over your shoulder hardest critic, right? Yeah. The next question was like, who are your top 3, top 5 photographers? Because your history and knowledge of photography over the years goes back so far, bro. That's what I've learned over time. I'm just like, bro, you really, like, photography is a real craft because you speak on it the way you do.
And remember, we got to go back to that active part.
That active.
Yeah.
If you hold on to that one,
if he gets to strike 3, I'm going off. He has strike 2, but I'm gonna stick to active.
It was meant to be today, baby.
Words, I'm gonna mind my words.
Listen.
So, just, you know, no particular order, but Ansel Adams is really good with his black and white photography. Like, listen to how my pops talked about his grayscale. Like, he got to sit on a master class and talk to him about his photography. So that kind of it wasn't like my pops was just like throwing this knowledge at me. But if he saw me gravitate towards a photo, he asked me, you know, what do I like about it? Or, you know, he has photo books and we sit down and look at them. So, you know, it wasn't like it was forced conversation, but it was like, this is what I see. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So, you know, Jamel Shabazz, James Vander, Z, Gordon Parks, Carrie Mae Weems, Chi Modu, David Lee. Like, there's a whole bunch of photographers that I feel like, one, they're all around the same age, except for Ansel. They're around my pops' age. So if he's doing the work that he's doing, because I feel like I don't talk about the kind of work that he did, well, the kind of work he did, because he was in the Air Force as a photographer. So he was basically doing, you know, he did the composites of, you know, your platoons or whatever. Yeah. That's how my parents actually met, you know, not to confuse the story, but my mom was my pop's photo assistant. So that's how
in the military
got to going.
Crossing lines.
And that probably wasn't a very prominent position for a bunch of black folks back then either.
I don't imagine that. Like,
I
that was in
mean,
Colorado, so yeah,
that's
it was
crazy,
probably
bro.
like, you know.
Crossing lines.
But
I married one of my clients, so
Yo, there you go.
so you look at you know, when I got to the age to start asking questions, or whenever I started doing like school projects, he had photos like of skateboarders, and I was asking like, so what is this? And it's like a composite sheet. He's got, you know, 36 images on a page. Certain ones are circled. And I'm like, so what's this? And he's like, you know, this person used X, Y, and Z photo for this. You know, he started getting to his Air Force photography, and he's got one of the last photos of the Columbia shuttle before it blew up.
damn.
Wow.
So you start having those kind of conversations.
Y'all about to be
like,
Googling this whole episode, but go ahead.
yeah, you know, it's one of those things where, as a young kid, and you know, still to this day, like I can look at an image and be like, "Yo, somebody had to take this."
Right.
So that was always been something that I wanted to do. So I look at those photographers, and it's like, I don't want to create the same work that they do, but I definitely want to be in those places that have those kind of stories.
Sorry.
Oh, no, go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you. So, you said something that was interesting. You said you want your mentorship to be beneficial, and I thought that's funny because I think a lot of people go out and they start talking to people, or they're eyeing somebody they want to mentor them, right? And it seems like nobody's ever saying, "Hey, I want you to do this for me." Or like, it's always like, "Look, Laws, I need you to show me how to do 1, 2, 3, and 4."
Yeah, what can I get from you real quick?
And then I always look at people and go, kind of what you said was, what can you offer that person? And I do want to let people know, if you are looking for a mentor, and be able to assist that person, but realistically, right? It was funny. I had a older woman. She called me maybe a month ago. She was like, "Hey, I want you to mentor me," but she wanted the business aspect of photography. And I was like, "Cool." And then she was like, "I just carry your camera everywhere you go." And I was like, "Well, I don't need an assistant." You know what I'm saying?
Pack mule.
Yeah, I was just like, and then it didn't help because then she told me, "Yo, you know, I can't really carry heavy stuff." And I'm just like, well,
Damn, you done struck you down as an assistant.
yeah. I was like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, one thing I do, and I'm not calling JK my mentor. I am, but he might not call me his mentee. But like, look, when he has a gig, I try to make sure I'm either available or I can make myself available to help.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like a everyday, "Hey, I got a family shoot, can you do whatever?" But he's like, "Yo, I got a wedding, or I got this large thing." You know, one time I was mad because he was doing holiday minis, and he needed somebody just to direct people, to come in, where to be at, what to do if they have a question before the next thing. And I felt like, yo, that was what I was supposed to be able to do, but I couldn't because I was going to be out of town that day. But it's like certain things I try to be available, because one of the things is my wedding detail shots have gotten better, because when we do weddings now, he tells me, "Yo, this is how you shoot this. Stop shooting at this. Shoot at this aperture. Shoot at this, you know, ISO. Do this. You got to." He gives me like intel on how to make my stuff better. And I know it's simply because, you know what I'm saying, we spend enough time together. Now he's able to see how I really shoot. Because sometimes, you know, it was funny enough because I was looking up this past weekend. I was like, yo, I need to get some more shots done for me, right? And I saw this photographer I liked, and I was like, oh, let me go ahead and DM this person. And then my wife was like, oh, how did work look? And I scrolled, and I was like, oh, never mind. This shit up here was a fluke. Like, everything else is just not it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people do miss.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people just fall for it. They got, look, I hit this one this time. And so when you got a mentor, they can be able to see like, nah, this is consistently where you hover around, but this is how you can get better.
That makes sense.
I kind of want to dive into, why is an active photographer better as a mentor than not?
Ooh. Well, that ain't hard.
Well,
It's the concept of a veteran athlete, right?
okay.
The reason why you keep a veteran on the team is for morale, but it's really like Tom Case and scenario in game. You know what I'm saying? The sense of guidance that you can have knowing what the market looks like versus someone who knew what the market looked like. You know what I mean? Now that's just my opinion though. But
What you got for us?
Well, the reason I said active is because I feel like, especially in photography, since it's been changing so much.
Yeah, man.
Like I've had conversations with older photographers, and they'll say like, oh, I was the biggest, advocate against digital.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll, they'll sit down
They
and say,
getting
like,
with it now, though.
if it's not film, I'm not shooting it.
Mm-hmm.
So just to say, somebody that maybe had like a Nikon D5 or a D4 wouldn't know, what the hell a Z9 is, or how, get around that roadmap. So it's like just to be current. And I guess to understand, like, the market's not the same as it was, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But now, since there's so many avenues of photography, to be in, like, I want you to be active in that.
Yeah. We had a discussion this weekend about active, a non-active, or if your mentor is a poser. Because there's a lot of people who play in photographer.
No more in 2023, bro.
Yeah, we got to start vetting these people, and deleting people and removing people and
speaking out against those
speaking
people.
out because people are finding unique ways to say, yo, I'm in this space and I bought me a camera. And what they're using is their background to help create a photography business. So, for example, right, most people know I went to school for computer software. I had an eye for web design. And once I got out of school, I was in marketing for like 8 years straight. I was a marketing manager. And I did that for retail. I did it for hospitality. And I worked with universities and stuff like that where I was just doing marketing, right? And so I easily can spot the marketing managers or the advertising people that are in photography who are using those skills, the same language, the same verbiage, the same jargon, so to speak. And they're not photographers.
To attract inexperienced or naive photographers.
Absolutely,
right?
because I feel like in this space, it's y'all know, and I don't know about people out there, but at least I know both of y'all know. You know when you meet somebody and they're just super new into this and they're just ready to soak up anything and they almost willing to do whatever it takes to learn to get ahead, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll start talking to them and they'll be like, oh, my favorite thing is, hey, I'm new to photography. What kind of camera should I get? What kind of camera you got? I want that. And it's just like,
all right.
you need, look, I always tell people like, yo, go get what you can afford and let's keep it moving, right?
Because the camera's just a tool.
It is. And then look, and then you start talking to them and they be like, well, I'm gonna get this lens, I'm gonna get this lighting. And I love when I meet people and they're brand new and they already talking about doing studio photography. And I'm like, damn, you don't even know how this shit work. But like,
get in it.
Yeah, they just want to get in it.
Go get a Sony.
And trust me, it's people. Go get a Sony.
That's what they do. I'm official now. I got a Sony. I'm Sony Alpha.
Shady
All
as
right,
shit.
man.
This man shady as shit.
Hey,
I ain't gonna lie, man. I hate Sony shooters, but that's a whole nother subject.
I mean, people. I watch
Told you
people
I'm
go
telling
through
the
the
truth.
gauntlet of Nikon. You know what I'm saying? They start with a Nikon D, like bro said, Nikon D4, D5, Canon, T6, XYZ.
Look.
People just go and get Sony. It's like, oh, they official. How long you been shooting, bro? A month, 2 months.
And
I
I'm
use my big check to go and get. Oh, all right, bro.
And I'm
go
a
ahead.
mentor.
And they a mentor.
Look, I hate Sony shooters. Look, and that's
man.
that is jokes.
It's
But
all
all
jokes,
good
ladies and
jokes
gentlemen.
have whatever J. Cole said.
A little bit of truth, man.
Look, just a little bit. But nah, like I always, I like the idea of having an active person because, like you said, hey, are you active or are you not? No, I'm not active. I haven't shot in so long. And then it's like, okay, cool. Do you got a mirrorless camera? What's that?
Right. Right.
Do you use Capture One? What's that? Do you use Lightroom?
Lightroom, Adobe Suite. What
what's
you
your
using?
workflow
Yeah.
Like, do you have the new profiles in there? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's when you start vetting your mentor. I think another thing with activeness is just I'm looking at it as like still sharpen still.
Absolutely.
So it's like if as a mentee, I'm thinking in the right head of a mentor, I would want to see your work, to see your progression. Whether it be, you're shooting every day, you're shooting street photography, whatever genre of photography you're in, there should be like some kind of check-in to where you're sending me your work, or I'm sending you my work, and we're kind of having the conversation and you're figuring out not necessarily how I shoot, but you're seeing like where I might be falling off on.
Facts.
Like being an assistant is a cool way to learn, but if that's not what you need, I don't, want to be in your way.
Yeah,
That's my biggest
that's
thing.
real.
Like the people I've worked with on set, my wife, a lot of people tell me like I'm really good just to be behind the camera, and people kind of forget that I'm there. Like, it kind of really got bad with the mirrorless camera because I can put the silent shutter
Silence.
on.
Yeah,
and
buddy.
then I'm
Yeah,
minding my
you
steps.
don't know where I'm at.
Forget where I'm at. Like there's a whole, but like there was a couple times like actors have been like, I'll take the camera down like, oh shit, you moved, and it's like, I kind of forgot you was there. You know, I'm already dressed in all black, so it's like,
Yeah.
cool. So as a mentor mentee relationship, I'm just looking at it as the same way like with a coach. Like you put this person, or you're checking in with this person either on a daily or a weekly schedule where it's like, let me see your progression. If you're really serious about photography, that's another thing. Like it came to a point, that everybody can be a photographer. Cameras are very accessible. Your phone's a camera.
Facts.
So there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. I think there's a problem with everybody thinking they have to monetize everything that they do. Because the moment it stops making money is like it doesn't become as fun as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because I can tell people, like, I have a hard time giving advice to people because my tolerance for risk is like through the roof. Like, shout out to Samir because once he said that on the Jack of All Spades
Shout
podcast,
out Samir.
Shout out.
it kind of stuck with me because it kind of put to words what I was going through because a lot of people, I didn't get paid that much in Charlotte to take photos.
Right.
Like going to concerts.
Bro, pulling up.
I was getting enough money to, fill up to get to where I was get to where I am today. I've done some like heinous shit. Like I'm pretty sure.
Straight up.
Like,
how do we define heinous, by the way?
So,
oh my gosh.
Really quick, like I did, work in the courthourhouse. So I was like, transporting juveniles around Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I'd have my camera with me, and we would legit go, different places, and I would document it.
Yeah.
Until I started documenting, like the judge was like, "Yo, I never knew like X, Y, and Z was going on."
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool because I was working on my skills, training my eye, and then on the other hand, when I was meeting up with these business owners, like, "Yo, you want these photos?" Like, shipping the photos out.
Yeah.
So it came to a point where I was getting calls for photos, but I was at work, or it would be like I get off at work at 8 and the show starts at like 8:30. There was times where I was taking like a 15-passenger van to the Fillmore. Like, like security's looking like shining the light through the windows like nobody else is in here. And it's like, yeah, the van is empty. Like, it's just me. Like, got my camera bag. And like,
that's funny.
Yeah, there's been a whole bunch of things. Like, looking back on it, I really can't tell people, do 2 to 3 years of free work, like to train your eye.
Bro, that's why this whole thing about mentorships is funny to me, right? Because a lot of y'all got mentors that are not even photographers. They're not even active photographers.
Can't
they don't
tell you
even
the ropes.
They can't tell you nothing about shooting because they don't shoot. And they do a great job of lying, hiding, and one lady I saw over the weekend, she said that she was a photography mentor, then she started shooting. And now she's no longer
She was inspired
active.
after the fact.
I was just like, yo, that is mind blowing because there's so many people that, you got
No other
photographers
industry
in
can
here.
you do this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Literally,
Go
that's
ahead.
what pisses me off because I can't go and be a swim coach and say I can't swim.
Nope.
Very true.
Like that shit is mind blowing.
No other
right?
industry.
And then the other part of it is a lot of people got mentors that are so new to photography, and I don't get it.
What would y'all consider new to photography, considering y'all been shooting for a while as well?
I don't think nobody should be a mentor if you ain't been shooting a minimum. Like I want to really say 10 years just to be real, and I don't know if that's fair. But I really feel like, cause bro, like you talking about what you went through, bro. I was shooting at 18, dog, and look, we talking about getting kicked out of places. Yeah. I'm talking about it's something about being that club photographer, and at the end of the night it's 2:30, and you sitting there just like this,
waiting. I think we all did that one.
You waiting on your $50 fucking dollars,
$50,
and them niggas looking at you like,
what you here for?
Then the dude, the promoter, is drunk with like 2 girls, and they running out, and the bouncer looking at you like, bruh,
son, you got to get out of here.
Look,
but they want their photos tonight too.
Yeah. You gonna get those photos in the morning?
Yeah.
Look, and then they looking at you like, bruh, he just got another photographer. Y'all don't talk like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something about that. It's something about you waiting on clients. And, I love when, like, new photographers now, like, oh, I refuse to wait on clients. And that's good for them. Hand claps, because I agree with you. But, until you sit there and you really sit there because you really need the money. Or you really need it and you sitting there 30 minutes, an hour waiting on somebody, right? You shooting somebody and they running off. You just don't hear from them no more. Like, it's something about going through those moments. And I ain't saying like, yo, you got to go through some traumatic shit to be seasoned. Because sometimes things go right.
Absolutely.
Right? You shoot a wedding and everything goes good. And then you super confident. Then the next wedding, it ain't work. I done shot people who didn't make it a year in their wedding. And they hit me up like, yo, don't post some shits. Like, we not married no more. And then I had to learn to put some shit in my contract to be like, yo, you ain't got no control of
regardless, together or apart, y'all getting these photos.
Look, y'all, and I had one lady, bruh, super young. That's my favorite joke. Like, I didn't get good in photography till like 2016 to 17, right? But I have at least 8 years prior to that of shitty work, but limitless experiences. Yeah. Like something that I can never take back. I remember a girl called me and she said, yo, I paid you cash. Me and that nigga ain't together no more. She said, what can I do? And I said, sis, technically you owe me the back end. Like, you owe me.
Period.
Yeah.
I said, you could just run off on the plug right now. And there ain't nothing I could do. Because I'm not going to take you to court for it. But you're not getting this money back. Nope. And she ran off. Now, mind you, I sent like the follow-up email like, hey, looking forward to blah, 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 so I can cover my ass. You know what I'm saying? But I knew what she did. She ran off. You know what I'm saying? And it's just fun. You know, it takes you running late to a gig to realize like, oh shit, I should start leaving on time.
Yeah.
Start being more punctual.
Or being somewhere early.
Being early.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny. So, but my answer is how long. I want to see 10 years worth of work. Not 10 years. I've been an instructor for 10 years. Not that I've, you know,
been around
for 10 years.
I've been a working photographer for 10 years.
Yeah. And also be clear. There's some
in your
space.
Messaging, be clear.
There's spaces for retired photographers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And some of that is, yo, look, it's retired photographers who could tell you how to get into galleries, who could teach you how to really curate a photo book, things that we don't use anymore. Law said something that was funny. I remember being young in photography, and them old heads was being super disrespectful and, nah, we ain't going digital.
Yeah.
Them new niggas had to retire for real because they didn't want to change with the times. No disrespect to y'all old heads. I love y'all. But, you know, it was tough for them. And I made sure, I remember at a young age, I was like, I never want to be that guy. Don't know what's going to come when I'm 50 or 60. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I laugh. I know a guy right now who's not been taking pictures longer than 2 years, and he offers mentorships.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it blows my mind because I'm like, bro, you don't even get paid.
I think it also boils down to a question that both of you have asked at separate times is what actually makes a professional? And that's what something that me and Mrlo go back and forth weekly at this point about. We don't come to a conclusion, but the question becomes more prevalent in conversation. Because at some point we have to define that. Because as a professional, let's look at LeBron James.
Okay.
As a professional, he's current. He's active. He's a veteran in the game. But he's constantly evolving and trying to make sure he refines his process to have a better outcome and output the next season. You know what I mean? So even as like photographers, a veteran photographer, very much the same. It's what you said. Stay relevant, stay current, knowing, you know, modern equipment, knowing what the modern market looks like, knowing, still preserving, yet again, like culture and staying true to the craft, right? That's the only way you can even have any metric. But all of those things literally boils down to that same question, like what makes a professional photographer?
I think I feel like it's the constant way of like learning. Because I can look at my pops. Like I think I've been able to see that transition and him do well in it because he came in an era where it was like he was a legit film loader. Like, you know, it was that 100 feet of film is equal to X amount of seconds.
A film loader.
Yeah.
Back when they had the film rolls.
Yeah.
Good
Lord.
Lord.
You know, he's told me like he's worked on movies where he's dealt with like 1 million feet of film. He's like, he's had to make sure like it was exposed correctly, it was packaged correctly.
That's wild.
And then going from that transition to where it's like a big ass SD card. It's just like, oh, let me pop it into the computer and make sure, you know, it's
make sure I got space, laws.
make sure you got space and everything, and then
hey,
go on about your day.
Digital space costs money, ladies and gentlemen.
It do.
It's
really
not just
does.
free in the air.
You know,
So you saying it's somebody who practice or
yeah, somebody that's practiced and then still keeps up to date with their
Stays ahead of the curve.
yeah,
even.
stays ahead of the curve. Because my pops, like anytime he's on a show or a movie, they'll tell him like whatever camera they're working with, and he goes and researches it. Like I remember, he's like 45 years old when the first Red camera, or the first time I heard of a Red camera. And he's like, yeah, this is a brand new camera, new sensor, new menu format. And he's over here on a virtual emulation of it, making sure like he knows the keystrokes to change certain settings. And it's like I feel like that's what you can call a professional. That's evolving with the craft, but also has like respect for it. I think a lot of the things that we're running into with people, saturating spaces is like, they get into it because they think it's a quick buck. You don't think that a lot of people, not saying you have to be passionate to be a photographer, but they're looking at not only photography as a way of money, but
clout.
That's something that they're into. So it's like I told people back before I was getting paid, I'll be still taking photos. I might hate the job I'm at, but you can still catch me at, snug taking photos because that's where I got started.
That's real.
So it's like if no people see the photos and nobody pays for them, I'm still taking them. It doesn't matter, if I'm getting paid, $2,500 a photo, I'm still taking it.
Yeah.
So, past the money aspect of it, it's like I'm in it because I like to be a photographer. Like I make it very clear with a lot of people when we have these conversations, and they have they talk about content. It's like I'm not a content creator.
I hate that word.
Instagram.
So we talk about that on here.
Instagram is not going to get a reel out of me. I'm not I'm not going to do anything, and I don't hate on the people that are doing it. But I recognize that is a completely different ball field than photography. If you want to be a photographer and a content creator, cool. I've much respect to them doing the videos because I watch my wife put together reels. I'm like, fam, I'll throw that shit on Premiere Pro and call it a day. And she's like, you have to do it on your phone. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that.
See,
I look at professional photography like this. What's your purpose in what you're doing? Why you here? And what are you? It's really like how you treat it.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And hold on, I think that people feel so negative about just it's a hobby for me. I like it. I'm cool with it. For me, like, I like gaming. I ain't no professional gamer though.
That's right.
Look, I'm about to have a Twitch.
Yeah.
First Twitch show probably coming this Thursday, next Thursday. Y'all be looking out.
Gavin, your mentor in Twitch, baby, in the gaming space.
Look, I'm about to be a Twitch mentor. But with that, is like, I told my wife, I was like, if I had tits, like my Twitch.
Oh, yeah, going off.
A dude on the gaming thing, he told me, he was like, you should put your wife on here with like a Pooh Shiesty mask. He's like, I swear, like your Twitch would go crazy.
That's the formula.
It is the formula because I was watching like on Reddit, like how to grow your Twitch. And there was this girl, bro, she wasn't even playing a game. She was like watching a game on her Twitch. She was not playing it, but she had a low cut shirt on and them views was going up.
Hey.
And she was just sitting there blinking, like no sound, no nothing, dog. I was just like, man.
That's wild.
Best chance you got, bro, is putting your son in that gaming seat, putting the controller in his hand while you play in the background off camera, and then have a voiceover.
Yep.
Look, baby beating us in Call of Duty. What's going on?
Basically. But I look at it as like, what's your purpose? Like, what are you doing? Because nothing's wrong with I'm a hobby photographer.
Yeah, nothing's wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Those people get money too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look, you can go on these. I tell people it's called POCstock.com. Look them up. They send out every month. We have a client looking for X, Y, and Z type of photos, and they pay me like $40 for like a random picture of a girl like working out in Noda. I just got the money. I was like $40. I was like, cool, but I didn't know where it was coming from. But I just uploaded a girl that I knew. Excuse me, she wasn't random, but she was just working out in Noda.
I know a guy like that. Shout out to Darwin. So I think it's in North Carolina. They have a mile marker. Well, they had a mile marker, 420.
Okay.
So every 420 that rolls around, his stock image goes through the roof. Like he's like, I made a couple $1,000 off of that one image that he took 15 years ago.
Bro.
Now the mile marker is gone. So they have to reuse his photo. So you work in usage rights for that.
Yeah.
It's like unless you've been in the game long enough to understand that, or you've had somebody reach out and tell you about usage rights and copyright claims about your photo,
you wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. And the cool thing about POC Stock, and a shout out to them because they will let you know why your picture was or was not selected. And I love that because I did something. They was like, yo, this looks too editorial. And it was an editorial photo. And I just uploaded a cool photo I had. I liked it. And they was like, it's too editorial. And they literally asked me, can you take all the color effects off? Because it was OD. Yeah. But it wasn't for that. It was just like, oh, let me upload some pictures. Who never knows? And for this one, look, bruh, I mean, I just put it up in the fitness section. It was a black girl working out. She ain't had no makeup on. Her hair was natural. It was pulled back. Her body stacked too. She's a cool girl. She be in Charlotte. Yo, I saw a nigga. Right. I saw a dude.
Sorry.
Bruh almost hit somebody looking at her working out. Jesus. And I was like, I was looking at him.
Her where?
Yeah.
I'm not asking. I'm asking for a friend.
But it was just funny. I ain't gonna do that to her name.
I'm married.
I was definitely about to give her name. But she mad cool, bro. And I was weak because she was like, damn, he was about to hit his car. I was like, yeah, what he looking at? And then because I was just shooting her. Yeah. And then I looked. I'm like, oh, you stacked. I just realized that you really stacked. Like, whatever. But anyway, we shot in Noah.
Guys, photographers do not see.
Bruh, I was not paying attention to her like that. But then later, and then it was funny because me and my wife was going through the picture. My wife was like, damn, her body nice. I was like, oh,
I didn't even notice.
Look.
Dang, look what
But it was cool to be like, when they saw it, they was like, perfect. It was good. And I was like, yo, these tits is ugly to me. But they was looking for certain things. And bro, I'm telling y'all, please sign up for PLC stock because they would literally write, during COVID, they was like, we need people of different hand shades washing their hands. Different shades of hands.
Could have made some bank with that.
Bruh, that's all they was looking for. And then sometimes, like, they'll let you know we're looking for a woman of this, like, ethnic group, blah, blah, blah. Please check them out. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to create this database so that, you know, when we Google stuff, like, look, we looking for podcasters, right?
Yeah.
And you go online, it's nothing but white folks. They need stuff with black people. Yeah. And they will have you to check off what ethnic group this person clicks under. Like, so you could put Hispanic, you could put black, you could put Indian, you could put, whatever, you could put Asian. Because certain Asian groups fall under that minority and people of color demographic. So it's super dope there. Definitely check them out. Sorry, I didn't mean to plug. Y'all now owe me some money, but you know how it go.
No,
that's a big way to, I think that's another topic that we can get on is just how vast the market of photography is.
Yeah.
It's like, unbeknownst, like, somebody probably heard that and was just like, yo, I've never heard of that. It's kind of the same way when I ran into a food photographer that was making, like, crazy money. Just like, it was like, yo, I did a McDonald's ad of a quarter pounder with cheese, billboards, buses, mobile ads. And it's like, I get usage with all that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to do your homework a little bit. And then also just be open to outside, like, other things of photography.
Facts.
Like, the first time my pops told me about doing, like any kind of photography for free, because the first thing I was trying to do was make some bread.
Get some money.
Put some stuff together. And he was like, yo, you have to build a portfolio, because how else are you going to get hired?
Facts.
Like, what are you going to show people to get hired? It's like, as simple as that answer is, a lot of people aren't going to get to that conclusion because we're stuck on Instagram and kind of confined by like, yo, whoever's the most popular photographer, the most liked photographer, that's who I'm going to go get with.
Yeah.
Just cool because there's a market for that, but there's also a market that's untouched. Like you said, like when maternity wasn't as big as it used to be.
Yeah, now
like,
I'm thinking about leaving. God damn.
Everybody's pregnant.
Look, yeah, you right. And that's kind of why when we started the podcast, I was asking you about still photography because, like, bro,
everyone don't hear that. That's for sure.
Yeah, because like we talking about stock photography, and it's people who literally go to stock places and go, "Hey, what?" They contact the marketing person at the stock photography place and go, "What do y'all need?"
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna get paid.
Look, I'm gonna go get paid, and it might not be, yo, I'm gonna make some life changing money, but it might be, yo, I do enough of this, I make a few $100s a month. It's cool. And then you got to think, every time somebody pulls and use your image again, you still getting paid for the old shit.
People giving plasma weekly, bro.
Bro, up the street.
So, sound like a better option to me.
Look, Shaq.
How much that camera in your pocket cost up?
First of all,
don't answer that, by the way.
What you shoot with?
So my set kit, I have 2 Xenons.
Okay.
7200.
What brand is a Xenon?
Nikon.
Oh, that's I hear you, dog. That's what's up.
Hate it. I'm a Canon guy, clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2 Xenons, the 7200, 24 to 70, 14 to 24. I have a Nikon D750. I got a Yashica 124 Mat G, Nikon F2. I just picked up a Bronica ETRS.
Still going
with cameras.
I got, and then a little pocket camera. Pretty sure I got like a few GoPros. Cameras are just a tool, you know.
Yeah.
You just use a whole bunch of them.
You ever get on certain sets or not? And I'm talking about outside of still photography, just in certain things like, nah, this camera work better for this.
Oh, tons of times. Like what I'm really bad about is using like a certain film stock, and then not shooting with it enough to have like something adequate for the setting. So like I have like 800 speed film for like dusk nighttime photography, and then be broad daylight and be like, damn, there's so many cool shots around here, but I don't want to jeopardize what I've been working on for these past 12 exposures.
Dang,
Yeah.
So I'm really bad about that. I need to get better about just being comfortable shooting 36 frames and getting out of there, so I can be more prepared for other stuff.
What's and both of y'all could think of this, like, what's something you plan on working on this year in photography? Like, you talking about getting up out of there, and I'll let you think of something. Because, like, for me this year, with my everyday shoots, I do want to start getting creative, more creative. Because, like, I know a lot of times, so, all right, I figured out what happened with me this year, right? Last year, excuse me. I didn't post enough. I wasn't on social media like I should have been. And if you thought that I was on social media, y'all better be pissed this year. Because I really was, and what happened was I was doing so much client work that I was like, I don't want this to become my feed.
True.
And certain things just would make it, right? And so this year I do want to do that. And also I want to plan out 4 shoots this year where they're like over the top. This is my shoot. This is the one where I'm going OD. I'm going to invest money into this with the hopes of it makes it where it needs to go. It goes viral, or I really just love the creativity that goes behind it. And that's everything from the location to,
the model, the props.
Boy, I was going to stop it, but since you took me there, I'm like, you got to go there. I was talking to my
I've
homeboy.
watched 3 of the 4 models literally flake on you when you say, hey, models are the most flakiest people in the world. Corn flakes.
Hold on, let me do a gunshot.
They literally can't. He said, watch this. Watch them not show up. And literally 30 minutes before the shoot, oh, I got a flat tire.
Bro, that happened.
Oh, my joint broke down. He got 2 of the same excuses in 2 back-to-back weeks.
Bro, 2 days. Like, yo, I'm really getting, damn, I ain't want to do this while Mrlo is here. Mrlo does not agree with anything I'm about to say.
No.
I'm really about to, like, stop working with certain people, like, beyond that. But, like, yo, we got to have, like, a model review out there. Because there are reviews on photographers.
We
like,
vetting mentors, we vetting models, we vetting everybody.
Because, like, yo, I believe I should be able to call off the shoot when you show up.
Yeah.
Let's say we collab and we show up. You don't bring the outfits we talked about. You decided to do your own makeup and it don't look good. And then you like 50 pounds bigger than what you told me you were.
You owe me.
You owe me a refund on all what I invested in this. And like, it's sad. It's just one of the realistic things. Like me, I was telling Laws, I was like, yo, man, I shot this person and they literally showed up. They didn't do the makeup art. They didn't get the makeup artist they were supposed to get. They didn't bring the outfits that they were supposed to do. And not being funny, but they were bigger than what the thing was. And the reason why that was an issue for me, and I don't give a damn, like the reason why it was an issue for me because the look we was going for, certain things had to be done, and because this person was in a certain weight class, they couldn't do it. And I'm not, and they weren't overweight. They were just bigger than what
Bigger than
the
what
hell,
they said.
what they said. And yeah, and then I
love
realized,
BBWs, by the way, so it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? And I say it that way just because, I mean, it's the easiest classification. You could be big, fat, I don't really care, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's cool. Everybody need love. That's not what he's saying, so open your
Nah,
minds.
it's not even that. And if you DM me about it, I'm gonna hurt your
Exactly,
feelings.
so open your minds.
Yeah, because it's no different from, yo, I saw a girl said it, I'm looking for an olive skin model, right? and it's like the shorty showing up who don't have the tan, and she's pale as fuck.
I'm trying to figure out what that olive
Like,
oil or
Look, it's
what?
like that. Like
Black olives?
imagine you looking for a brown skin model, and it's just a girl who's like, "Oh, I do spray tans, and yo, I'm pale as shit right now."
Yeah,
You'll be pissed.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be kind of like how in the indie film and certain film communities here, like in North Carolina, like they really go strict with these casting calls.
Yeah.
Like, the same luxury should be afforded to photographers when they're trying to get these
Bro,
shoots out.
that's
real.
why this year
That's real.
I think for 2 of my shoots, I am going to really reach out to modeling agencies and like get the model I need, or at least pay, because the not paying chicks. Yo, collabing with City
Ain't
Girls just
paying
got to
off.
stop in 2023.
not paying chicks ain't paying off.
Yeah, because like when people value their time, and I get that.
Yeah.
But and it's never me where it's like, oh, I don't have the money, I don't want to. It's really like people show up and they find ways to take shortcuts.
True.
And I don't have time for that anymore because I want to grow, and I need professional people to show up.
Yeah.
That's real.
I understand that.
I mean, that's it. If you come here expecting to work with a professional photographer, I expect for you to be professional. That's all it is.
Put a blank period on that.
It is what it is. What's
To
that?
get that question that you did ask, what I want to work on in 23 is
Yeah, what y'all want to work on?
just getting out of what you said, heavy on the client work, right? So I'm not gonna say I was nearly as busy as some other people I know, Gavin being one. But I want to get back to shooting what I want to shoot. I want to promote what I want to promote. I'm not gonna say I even promote so much on Instagram, but I've literally just been, I'm getting paid for that. Yep, I'm shooting that. Anything else, I shouldn't have to show up with my camera because I was traumatized from getting out here at first. Because I would show up to everything. I would show up to everything, which is how I met Marlo. Literally, after I met Marlo, I saw him.
That's
at
how you met
everything
me.
after the fact. That's how I met Gavin. Gavin didn't have his camera when I first met him.
Hell nah.
Oh, so you really paid, bro? Dang, okay.
Nope,
He was
not.
like one of the featured celebrities in there with Alvin Jacobs. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm just the shooter in the club space. Shout out to the Gantt Museum or whatever. But yeah,
He said or whatever.
I want to shoot. And we ain't getting on that today, bro. No, we are not. Yeah, I just want to shoot more of what I want to shoot. And that just looks like, carrying that camera around the way my man has his camera in his pocket. I kind of want to be on this because I see so many dope things that I just never have my camera with me to capture. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just want to get back in a little bit more back into that, though.
What you working on this year, Marlo?
Honestly, I don't know. So production offices open up, I guess, later this week.
Okay.
I'll send out some, emails to see what's up.
What have you already been working on, Marlo? Yeah, it's only day 2. He didn't have 2 meetings already. I know.
Absolutely. It's the second.
We wrapped up on Ironheart season 1.
Dope.
Okay.
Dope.
Early November, and then we wrapped up on the Haunted Mansion reboot. Early February or March, one of those.
That's all he can release about that information, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's cool projects. I think that what I want to get into next is like I've been really into motorsport lately. So whether that be NASCAR, F1 dirt
you
track,
said,
I've been trying to get my way into like these little drift communities. in
Okay.
Charlotte. I'm
Okay.
trying to get show me a sanctioned event. If there's not a need for a photographer, I'll still be there. Kind of the same way I did music photography in Charlotte. Like nobody knew who I was. I was just a random dude showing up with a camera, and then off of those relationships where I was just like, yo, you performed, right? I took these photos of you. They like them. That kind of got me to the next one. So that's how we met because I showed up. I don't know how many player maids I went to before me and Elevator J had a conversation. And he was like, yo, you've been here. You've always had your camera.
Yep.
And it was funny because people that were around him, like Southside Ghost, Eric Lottery, Wells, it was funny because the first time I started showing up without my camera and we introduced, I was like, oh, I know who you are. You always have a camera in front of your face. It's cool to see your face for the first time. So kind of the same way I'm attacking it with motorsport. So if there's I know there's a drift community out in like Union County or in more prevalent in the Union County area.
Okay.
I'm gonna see, they need a photographer. And then other than that, kind of what you said, just staying available.
Yeah, I want to do that, man. I want to get more creative, and Really kill this shit this year, man. I really am focused on it. Before we get out of here, I need you to drop your socials. Tell everybody where to find you at. Everything.
So on Instagram, it's MRLO with 2 underscores.
Okay.
You can find me on my website, jalenmarlow.com.
Okay.
Spelled, JalenMarlowe. Twitter, I don't do anything serious on Twitter. I'm there for the memes and jokes. You might catch me talking about how drunk I might be at the time, and I might be like mad, sentimental, reflecting on shit.
Yeah, that's real.
If you want to tune in for that, you can find me on Twitter at MRLO with 2 underscores.
My man be sad.
Oh,
Hey,
look, don't get
we gotta
drunk.
release
Be like,
somewhere.
damn, I was really shooting for free out here.
Bro.
Start spiraling out.
But we started from the bottom. Now, we're getting paid a little bit.
Hey, but now we
Taking
here, though.
vacations.
Real quick. I don't even know if you can disclose that information, but for those inspiring artists, there's obviously a whole gauntlet of information and detail which they would have to go through to even be able to become a part of the union. Let's just say, what's a minimum day rate for being a part of the union in Atlanta? So, you don't have to give what you get paid. What I'm asking you is, what's the entry point?
What's the entry point?
Yeah,
As
what
a
could
still
people expect if
photographer?
yeah.
I've been paid as little as like 75 an hour, not including my kit, and then I've also been paid as like 85, 90ish an hour, depending on what we're doing. And then my kit's compensated, so that's another thing. So not even with the union, but PPA, Professional Photographer Association, or whatever it is. They have it's kind of like the freelance union where once it's a payment thing like anything else.
Yeah.
But once you pay, your access to gear insurance, so your gear is insured. I know a lot of photographers, once we start getting to a certain price point,
Yeah.
we're spending
Good
thousands.
$20,000 on a camera kit.
Yeah.
So with PPA, they get you insured. They get you, obviously, you get the whatever photo convention that they're sponsoring. You get free membership into that.
Okay.
That opens up networking opportunities. And then also, I think there's a thing where it gets you some kind of pass, a media pass.
Okay.
I know a lot of photographers, when we're talking about getting outside of peer-to-peer client work versus a corporation or a sponsor
commercial
reaching
stuff.
out for you to be the photographer, the conversation is different on the business end.
Yeah.
So certain organizations like PPA, I forgot the other one, kind of like how the local 600 is, as far as whenever there's a job, they're going to vet that whatever project it is to make sure it's on a union contract, or X, Y, and Z is ticked off to make sure that the person that's paying the dues to be in our organization is taken care of properly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other things about non-union versus union.
Okay.
Because there's photographers out here that aren't union but still get to work on huge projects.
As if they were.
Yeah, I'm talking to tour photographers trying to figure out how they do what they do, and they're trying to figure out how I do what I do.
Yeah.
So it's just sharing that kind of information is kind of what we're going back and talking about as far as gatekeeping and mentoring, where we might not be able to look at somebody 10 years our senior in the industry or in age in general, but you have people that have been shooting with Rolling Loud for X amount of years, or shooting
Facts.
for what's the iHeart Music Radio Festival, whatever festival's going on or whatever events are going on. You have these guys that shoot the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah.
It's
That was real.
the information that was relayed to them, they're probably just looking for somebody else to have that same kind of interest. And I think it's one of those things where we have to find a way to properly articulate ourselves in asking for help.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, hey, Gavin, I need you to teach me studio photography. It's more like, hey, Gavin, I appreciate the lighting that goes into your work because I see that it's intentional.
Yeah.
I would like to not copy your workflow, but I would like to see how you achieve that and how can I mold that to my own style. So it's
Facts.
I feel like there's a lot of conversations.
I'm gonna cuss laws out.
But it's having those
I like
kind
how
of
you said that,
conversations.
bro.
Yeah, I feel like it's articulated because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I told my wife before coming on this podcast, when people ask me about my job, I feel like it's not an awkward conversation because of sensitive details, but I feel like it's an awkward conversation because I don't know how to articulate it properly because one, you're working with some of your favorite actors, like
Right.
not the name drop, but I, worked with Tiffany Haddish, Lakeith Stanfield.
Have you met Tyler Perry?
He was at the I was in quarantine with him.
Okay.
So when we did the 2021 camp quarantine.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on the same studio floor with me. He did like a little block party. When the power went out, we won't get into that, but when the power went out,
Oh, they got reckless. All right.
So being in those kind of settings, it's like I want to be cognizant of the moment, not get starstruck.
Yeah.
And then also understand like I'm here for a reason. So yeah, just all of that in general, like.
Yeah, we do gotta get in that space of, like you said, what do I need? Yeah. That's why I kind of ask y'all, like, what do y'all want to work on? Because I think to know what you need to work on this year, what you got to be better at, is to kind of know, like, where you're lacking at, so to speak, right? And now when, if I know that, now if somebody's listening and hearing what we all are saying, then they can kind of know, like, all right, maybe I do know somebody that can help in a creative process for Gavin. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, and you could develop those things. And now when you run across somebody, like you said, you're looking for a mentor and you want one, you can kind of say, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. This is what I want. And then you'll be able to vet that person. We should probably start with if they are a photographer, but we'll leave that alone. But
If
yeah,
they have
man.
good intentions.
Look,
They actually want to learn and not copy your style, things like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not mad at
I'm
it.
gonna cuss laws out. Anyway, bro, I really want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you because I know, the first time you came by, you stopped through and I was like, yo, would you ever want to hop on a pod? You was like, yeah. I sent out a list. I sent out a link to probably, I think it was at 4 a.m.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I was up. I think it was New Year's Eve. I was up at like 4 a.m, bro. And I sent out a link to a couple of people who I had mentioned about coming on the pod. And I think before I blinked, Mrlo had already selected his date and time. I was like, oh, he getting straight to it. First day of the year.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, yo, I appreciate it. Hopefully before you go back, you know what I'm saying, come back on and we could talk some more.
Yeah,
I'm game for that.
Yeah, because we love guests and appreciate Laws as always.
I just let it contribute, bro. I appreciate you having me as well. You know what I mean?
I'm still going to cuss Laws out. And with that, man, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
All right, be good.
Welcome to the Paid and Exposure Podcast.
Let's get it.
A podcast about helping our community